Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk a bit about how to use break statements in Java programming. Break statements are basically for stopping the execution of a loop. And this can be either a for loop, a while loop, or a do while loop. It's also used in switch statements though. There are two different types of break statements, the labeled and the unlabeled break statement. I'll go ahead and show you a few examples of unlabeled break statements here real quick. Here you have a basic while loop. Now, when it runs, it'll iterate all the way until I reaches the value of 8. And when it does, the if statement below the print line, which is going to be this if statement right here, will return true, which will allow this break statement here to execute. And when this happens, the execution of the while loop stops and the program ends. The last thing you'll see in the console is while loop iteration 8, since that's the last line printed before it hits the break statement and causes the iteration to stop. So I will go ahead and run this here. And see. Here we have while loop iteration 8. Now I'll go ahead and demonstrate to you how this will how this will work in a for loop. It's pretty similar, but I'll just demonstrate that for you here. Okay. You see, this is almost the exact same thing as the while loop version. The I variable starts out at 0 and goes until it reaches 3. Then the if statement returns true and causes the program to break out of the loop. For loop iteration 3 is the last thing to print out in the console. Go ahead and run this here. And see, there we have for loop iteration 3. Now, these have been unlabeled break statements that I've been showing you so far. One thing about the unlabeled break statement is that it only breaks out of the loop that it's currently in. If you're using a labeled break statement, you have the ability to break out of not only the loop that it's currently in, but if it's within an outer loop, it can break out of that as well. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that for you here. Okay. Now you see this piece of code here. That is a label for the for loop that follows it. Basically, a label will allow a break statement nested within it to stop execution of the entire loop, no matter how deeply nested it is. So, because I have this here set to break on the outer label, it will break on the outer loop. When this code executes, it'll break out of both loops as soon as j is equal to 8. It doesn't matter what you name the label. You could put Frank if you want to, and run it. It doesn't matter what you call it. I'll go ahead and run this here for you. So, as you can see here, we got to inner loop iteration 8, but you can also see that the outer loop iteration only went to 0 because it started going through the outer loop and began executing the inner loop, and once the inner loop's value j got to 8, it called this break outer statement here, which broke it out of the entire loop. So iteration didn't continue. I'll go ahead and show you what would happen if this was not an unlabeled, or if this was an unlabeled break statement. And you'll see that the outer loop will continue to execute. See, as you can see here, the outer loop got all the way to 4 rather than breaking out at 0, which it would have on the labeled break. So that's kind of how break statements work. I hope I made it pretty clear to you and made it understandable. Alright, thank you.